Hello everyone, welcome back to Butschern. We are back once again. Big week. This week in Farming Simulator, of course. Patch 1.7, and we also had the Vermeer pack that came out. I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably watched other channels and seen all the news about the Vermeer pack, so there's not much more to be said about that. Don't know if you picked it up or not. I went ahead and did. Really nice pack. I think it's I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. I don't know that we'll use any of it in this on this map simply because not sure how well it'll fit. American made. Not that that's a main issue. I try to stay regional, at least country wise, but it's a game at the end of the day, and if there's equipment you want to play with, you go for it. You play with what you want. Um, Patch 1.7 seemed to be okay. Nothing broke. At least for me, it didn't. I haven't heard too many complaints about 1.7. Got our John Deere working on finishing up plowing on this field, and we can probably kick off our cultivator here pretty soon. But I saw he missed a strip over here, and I don't know why, but it might. We'll see what happens. The other thing I noticed, I don't. Well, actually, there's a couple things I noticed. Um, One, I don't see a baler. I don't think we own a baler. Or, I'm sorry, a wrapper. I guess I I guess I just assumed we had one. Um yeah, we don't have a wrapper. So we're going to have to pick ourselves up a wrapper because we're not going to be able to do silage wrapping or bale wrapping, which I kind of wanted to do with this. I didn't want to just wrap grass. I actually wanted to get silage out of it because we need money, and to be honest with you, this silage might be a way for us to make some cash. Plus, we will need silage for our cows for TMR. I know there's other ways of producing silage. I think maybe the map author uh, wanted us to make silage maybe using the bunker silo, and we can certainly do that um, at some point, but I think straight away, I guess we could put grass in there. So we could technically. Okay, so we could do this. We could bale up grass bales, right? And we've got over yonder this guy right here. And what this mod lets us do is we can put our grass bales in here, and we can take out loose grass right here, and we could cart that over to our bunker silo and make silage that way and skip wrapping. Maybe we should do that. I mean, we've only got 25. What do we have? 25,000 in the bank. If we, even if we leased, boy, I don't know. I don't know. We could lease a wrapper. There is a cheap wrapper I picked up today. Actually, the timing's pretty good. There's a inexpensive wrapper. Let's see here. Right here, this Sipma. It'll only wrap 125s, which, yeah, okay, whatever. But it is only 4,000 bucks, and we could pick that up if we wanted to. Otherwise, the next cheapest one that I have, at least for mod wise in the game right now, is this $22,000, base game Cavernland, which would pretty much soak up our money without taking any loans out. We'd be pretty broke. I've wanted to try these wrappers here, um, these speed wrappers, and I like them. I really like these wrappers because they do both square and round, and they do 125 through 180, which is really nice. I mean, there's not a lot of wrappers in the game other than the Anderson log style, tube style wrappers that do 180s for round, and for that matter, 240s for square. And I don't know if you've seen these before. This mod, it's a nice mod. It's fine. It's the stock Coon bale or wrapper, but this times 3 speed, this thing cranks out the wrap. I'll tell you right now. In action, it's kind of fun to watch. But you know what? Let's get to work. Let's do some. I almost forgot to, and that also allows us, by the way. Now that I think about it, if we're not going to use a wrapper and we're going to use our barn over there, which I guess we might as well since it's there, we can actually bump up to 180s even on the grass bales as well. So let's do that. Let's see how it turns out. You know, I mean, am I picking up? I am picking up. Yeah. Yeah, we might as well. It's less bales, and you know, I always do this when I do when I do swathing. I'm always like, oh yeah, you know, no problem. I'll just make, you know, a bunch of tight corners, and I could pick it all up with the baler. And I always regret doing that because, you know, it just makes it harder when you are baling. But we'll get through it, okay? So hope you're all having a really good week. I'm having a good week. Week's been good so far. It's been busy. I always forget to turn on. I always forget to turn on the automatic dumper. Oh, speaking of the round bale extension mod that I'm using, the round baler extension mod, which I personally really like because I always forget to stop and I always have to back up and that kind of thing. Looks like that the mod author there came out with an update, I think today, that according to the changelog, it's supports the new Vermeer. I think it supports the new Vermeer self-propelled baler, I think. Because I think the normal Vermeer round baler would work. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it is designed to support that new self-propelled round baler, which I think is cool. And I'll tell you, the only thing I was disappointed with was that it was a round baler. I actually kind of prefer square bales myself, generally speaking. Just because they don't like to roll down fields, and I find square bales generally easier to work with as far as stacking and stuff goes if you are going to work manually with instead of using auto load. Which then takes me to the second thing. The first thing that I didn't realize or had forgotten about is that we didn't have a wrapper. The second thing that, and this is all on me, I either forgot that we had this or just didn't pay very close attention to it. Let's finish this little bale here. Is we have buried over there by our chickens this guy right here, this Welger. And I, you know, obviously we're using this. I knew we had, I didn't know we had this. This is the one I didn't know we had. And, excuse me, I had to cough there for a sec. What's nice about that is it's supported by the Universal Autoload mod, which I absolutely love, by Loki. Sorry about that, everyone. And because I wasn't paying attention, I went out and leased to own our auto bale stacker, which is fine. I mean, I still prefer doing it that way. That being said, we probably, if we got into a pinch, we could probably sell that. Well, we could sell the wagon if we wanted to. That the Welger, we could sell that, make a little bit of money. We could always return the auto stacker and use the Welger instead. Um, and what's nice about the Universal Auto Load mod is you can do kind of that 50-50 thing with it. I made a mod minute or so video on the Universal Auto Load mod because he had come out with Loki had come out with an update for it too. But you can do kind of a 50-50 cheat thing with it, so we still could go out in the field, take our front loader, and it'll still auto load, but it'll auto load directly from our from our front loader, if that makes sense. I did notice with this particular patch, and I've noticed it for throughout 22, that the game seems to take a little longer, it seems, to get past the glitchy graphics. And I've heard some other YouTubers experiencing this as well. And I've got my system's pretty beefy. I've got an RTX 3080 video card, so it's not like I'm struggling for, video juice to get things going. But I'll tell you, I preloaded this before the recording on purpose and just kind of walked around. You know how you kind of walk around the map and you fly around the map and you go from tractor to tractor or whatever, and at least this is what I have found works well for me. To build up the shader cache, and that's what I did before I recorded, because it was pretty bad getting into the game. Just the glitchiness of it was. Of course you are. I was gonna say I wanted to get this thing unloaded. Well, that'll work. We'll turn around. That's all right. But yeah, I just noticed it like when I'm in cab here, and I don't know if you're seeing it as much, but I'm just seeing still not a lot of stuttering, just a little more stuttering than I normally do. And it usually cleans itself up, after you play the game for a while. It cleans itself up, and the shader cache is built back up again. I watched a video. I'm in IT. I've mentioned this before, but the only reason I mention that is because I know it's part of my job to know and to learn and to stay up to date with new technologies and things like that. And shader cache, I really didn't know much about. I thought I knew a little about it in general, but not anything technical. You know what I'm saying? The difference between being technical with something and knowing about something, I think, can be two different things. So I watched a couple videos on YouTube, a couple channels that I respect technically, talking about what shader cache is, and it's a very complex computer. I don't know how you'd say it, but it's definitely a complex thing, graphics thing. I didn't think it was. I thought basically it was, because we know what cache is. Cache is, like if you have thumbnail cache and memory cache and things like that, it's just generally a way that a computer stores things so it can retrieve it faster, So your browser cache is designed so that every time you load Chrome or Edge or Firefox or whatever it is you use, Safari if you're on a Mac, whatever, and you go to the same web pages regularly, your browser cache is meant to help load those web pages faster, because a lot of times graphics don't change on websites very often. At least some of the graphics don't. And it also, of course, and this is much less, but it also saves, resources, because you're not having to download those same images again. It can just draw, the images that it has in the cache, in the browser cache. And that's basically is, in a nutshell, what shader cache is itself. Is it's building a repository of shader files. Well, this is a nice little couple lumps of grass right there. And it builds that repository up so that when you're in the game can draw from those cache files instead of having to require your graphics card to have to redraw a lot of those images. But shaders themselves is relatively complex, and I have a lot of respect for game developers and for driver developers in particular. I think you've got to have some smarts in the old noggin if you're going to be a hardware driver developer or coder, I guess would be a better way to put that. Hardware drivers are a tricky beast to get right, and very easy to, if you're not careful, to make things go very, very wrong. So, and they've only gotten, my understanding of from hardware drivers, they've only gotten more complex as operating systems have have developed as well, because you've got operating systems have that HAL, it's the hardware, what is it, the hardware layer, hardware access layer, I believe is what HAL is. And that is what separates the drivers from having direct access to the operating system, which protects your operating system, well, supposed to help protect your operating system from, having really bad crashes if something goes wrong with the hardware. And probably there's also some security risks there as well if you don't have something separating hardware drivers from your operating system. But why am I going down this rabbit hole? Wow. Sometimes I get to thinking out loud about this stuff and get chatting about it. But we're baling. That's what's most important. We're getting the grass picked up, and we've got a game plan. Yeah, we don't have a lot of money, but we're getting there. I'm going to put out, at least I plan to put out another mod minute. Probably won't be until, when is this this is getting released Wednesday. It probably won't be until Thursday or Friday. It might even be the weekend. But there was a John Deere series of tractors that was released. Is it Wilker Farms, I think, over on itch.io, in 8,010 series tractors. I was just checking those out before I got into Butschern to take a look at them, and yeah, loaded with options. Yeah, just absolutely loaded with a variety of options. And one of the things too is Simple IC. The mod author, I guess, has added quite a bit of functionality through Simple IC. I have not used Simple IC much in FS22. In fact, I haven't used it in game at all. I've actually only used Simple IC looking at mods that support it and stuff like that, more for just playing around. And it's kind of cool. I guess for me personally, I don't I guess my gameplay style, um, I don't really care much about it. I think it's cool. I just don't care about it that much, just because I'm not into, um, you know, manually opening up tractor doors and being able to open up um, windows, manually, with mouse clicks and stuff like that. I get people who like that kind of stuff. I totally do, and I respect that. I respect the fact that there's certainly a group of users that, as far as realism or role play, are super into that, and that I think makes Simple IC something that's very cool. For them, I can imagine. For them, Simple IC is huge. Um, I would liken it to what auto load generally is for me, because I really do not enjoy. We need to lift up our pickup so we can drive a little faster here, because I generally do not enjoy manually doing. Actually, if I had to choose, I would manually do pallets, or I'm sorry, bales, before I would do pallets. I think pallets are devil spawn myself. I struggle a lot with pallets, and I made it a point to practice for a while. I just went into a test map, or a general, I just made it a test map and loaded up a bunch of pallets and just started practicing loading pallets, and I just didn't find it fun. And if, to me, if in a game, if it's not fun, I'm probably just either not going to play the game, or I'm going to find another way to do it that is fun, so. But yeah, pallets do not rank up there in my top things to do on Farm Sim. Kind of made a mess out of doing the bales here, haven't I? I'm kind of trying to get to a fresh row. We might as well kick off. Let's go over here to this row. We'll just take it from here. It looks like we're getting a decent amount of grass, though, doesn't it? I mean, these are 180 bales. I'm actually kind of surprised that we're getting as much as we are, to be honest. Look at that, and that's what I love about this game too. Do you see the inside of that? If you look at the inside even of that baler, I mean, it would be easy to just, make it simple, plain, but I mean, the moving parts, the dirt textures, yeah, I love this game. And I think it's kind of funny. Let's take a look at this. Let's see here. I think it's kind of funny. Look at that inside there. How those all have dirt textures in there. All the rollers and stuff. That's so cool. I swear, and I believe this honestly. When I tell people, we get to talking at work and stuff, or with friends about, like, oh, what games are you playing? Well, most of my friends know now that, it's Farm Sim and it's Euro Truck or American Truck. It's simulators in general, usually. I got the old, made fun of stuff like, oh, you play Farm Sim? Why do you play Farm Sim? Do you go home at night and harvest your corn and your wheat? And I'm like, yeah, actually, that's exactly what I do, and it's a blast. And it's funny too, because I always tell them, or I bring up to them, the fact that go look at Steam, the Steam sales. Go look at the top 10 games on Steam, and it's usually Farming Simulator, American Truck and Euro Truck Simulator. There's always simulators up there, and high sales on Steam. It actually amazes me at the kind of numbers that these games sell. It's impressive. It really, really is. Even games like Car Mechanic Simulator. That's another game that I miss playing, and I've got the most recent one, and I didn't get into it a great deal. Maybe that's something we should think about tossing on the channel at some point. I would like to maybe throw some different games in on the channel eventually. I just kind of, when I was thinking about what I kind of wanted to record and do, Farming Simulator was kind of the gimme. Um, it was just that, you know, I I knew that this was going to be I guess my flagship, so to speak, game that I wanted to, because it's what I enjoy playing the most right now. And but I've had a couple comments from people asking if there will be other games on my channel, and yeah, certainly I kind of have plans, hopefully in the future, to get into some other games. I like Hunter Call of the Wild. That's another game that I haven't played in quite some time that I actually would be willing to do a start from scratch on that one again, because it's been quite a while since I've played it, and there's been a lot of updates and added regions and territories. But that game had me hooked for quite some time. To be fair, that's an awesome game. I wouldn't mind doing some truck driving. I wouldn't mind getting into. I've also thought about kind of getting into and maybe having not like lengthy series, but just occasional retro game kind of stuff that maybe I used to play years ago. Plants vs Zombies being one of them. I actually just released a not a short video, or somewhat short video on some Plants vs Zombies gameplay. Just stuff like that. Just whatever kind of catches my fancy, kind of thing, I guess you would say. And I'll tell you, I am still amazed and surprised at how fast a half an hour goes playing this game. I guess it just says how fun it is. So we're gonna get this last row, and I gotta watch my time from now on. I was looking at my video lengths, and I do tend to go over my 30 minutes, which is what I try to stay at. But let's get this bale wrapped up, and we need to go check our helper. I don't check as often the Courseplay hired helpers, just because it's been my experience that they generally do pretty well. And indeed they are. Now, didn't I set this course up? Yeah, okay. I was looking. I thought I set up like 3 headlands, maybe even 4 headlands. And maybe that's why that strip, I don't think he missed or she missed that strip. I actually think that strip was there because it's part of the headland. And I bet, yes, I think this is actually 2 strips, and already 1 has been taken care of. So, yeah, you're doing good. Keep up the good work, for sure. And that's where I'm going to leave us in Butschern for now. I think I will let this field get finished plowing so that we can just get done with that. And next time we are in Butschern, we can do some liming on this field. We can get cultivated and done. We have a couple fields then that will need planting. I think we're getting late enough in the day. It's about 6:30 p.m. And yes, I did remember to start the clock this episode. Yeah, I guess prayers have been answered because I never remembered to start the clock, but I did this time. And of course, we can finish our baling and we can get our bales taken over and get them. I think what we'll do is we'll take the bales, the grass bales, over to our barn. We'll get them into loose material and we'll truck those right over to our bunker silo. And let's get some silage made straight away so that we can make some money because we need money. We need money to progress this. So once again, I thank you all so much for putting up with me and for watching the video again. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless, and I will see you again soon.